If you can be in a bad mood for no reason, you might as well be in a good mood for no reason. If it's not going to change your life, it shouldn't change your mood. If the cost is peace of mind, don't buy it.
Yeah, if you can be in a bad mood for no reason, then you can be in a good mood for no reason, which means that if you can do something that's amazing and still have a shit day, it means you can do something that sucks and have a good day, which means the entire excuse around, I don't want to do all these hard things because as a proxy, it makes my mood sad, is ridiculous, because it means that we are ultimately in control of how we want to perceive the work that we do. And so I think that is ultimately the most freeing thing that you can do in terms of how you can equip yourself to get through those harder periods.
Why do you think there's so much cynicism at the moment, especially on the internet?
It's easier. You can always defend no. Like we actually deal with this a lot at acquisition.com from an investment perspective. And we actually have to check ourselves, which is it's always easy to find a reason not to do an investment. So we have a no bias, and you should have, you should overall have a no bias. Like you should say, okay, here's all the things that could go wrong. And you have to kind of think that way because you have to manage risk. But if you say no to everything, you're always right in the short term. But if you never make an investment, you're wrong in the one way that matters, which is you get no return. And so like you always miss the short-term losses, but you lose the big long-term gain. And so again, this is a continuum to be managed more than a problem to be solved. But cynicism is short-term. It's like when you go home, right, and you want to start a new business, or you have a girl that you're bringing back, and your friends and your family are like, she's not going to last, or like, this isn't going to be forever. They are right. Literally every single time, except for the one time you bring your wife home. And in that time, they're all wrong. And it's the one time that fucking matters. And so the idea, but the thing is because of the false positives or the true positives, they might have been right literally 19 out of 20 times. And if they were right the first time and the second time and the third time and the fourth time, why would they bet against no on the fifth time or the 50th time? But you only need one yes or one positive to change your entire life. And so there's this habit, and that's where cynicism comes from, where we get so many positive reinforcers for saying no and being right. But it's only short-term being right, because you have to make big bets to win big. And that also means that you're wrong plenty of times, and people aren't willing to look stupid for being wrong. This school bet could go wrong. I'm betting it's not. But everything has risk. And I've been public about it. Right. And so like, if anything, but like I've played this out. So like, I'll tell you how I played this out. I was like, if it goes wrong, I'll document the things that I learned and that I'll apply next time. And I'll do what I've always done. State the facts and tell the truth.
It is strange to think about how being cynical or skeptical or kind of sardonic or cutting or aloof, it's used as a proxy for being smart.
Oh, yeah.
The worst thing that anybody could be accused of is naive. That's what they're trying to optimize against. They don't want to be seen as naive. Oh, you hope that everything was going to be good. Oh, that's cute. Like, the world will teach you. Don't worry. It's like you'll learn.
Yeah.
People don't want to be naive,
and they'll be right. And that's what's painful. Is that it takes more effort to start in the beginning, and more people are right about the fact they're like, hey, you're not going to hit it big. And guess what? A month in, you're not. But they're only measuring on months. And at 6 months, you're also not going to have hit it big yet. And they're going to be like, I'm still fucking right. And at a year, you're still not going to have hit it big. And they'll still be fucking right. And every day that you haven't hit it, they're going to feel like they were right. But they're wrong, because they're measuring in days and you're measuring in decades.
There's this idea from Gwinder called the cynical genius illusion. Cynical people are seen to be smarter, but sizable research suggests they actually tend to be dumber. Cynicism is not a sign of intelligence, but a substitute for it, a way to shield oneself from betrayal and disappointment without having to actually think.
There's a tweet on a Doomsday Money Twitter guy, and he said, he's predicted 16 out of the last 3 recessions. And the thing is that no one recalls the other 13 times that guy was wrong.
Yeah.
And they don't recall all of the gains that probably were made in the marketplace by people who didn't sell during that time period.
There was this broad, you know, people forward shit on WhatsApp, and if it's been forwarded lots of times, it even says at the top, forwarded many times. It's like a little warning. And this happened, I think, around COVID. There was an image of one guy, one squaddy, wearing like army gear, walking through the streets of London. And this was forwarded on WhatsApp as evidence that the army was going to come and hold people in their house at gunpoint. And if you left, it was going to be martial law was going to be deployed on the streets of London. And this went fucking nuclear, completely interstellar, absolutely everywhere. What happened with that?
Yeah, right.
What happened with that thing? Not a single person who decided to spout this half fucking baked opinion that never turned out to be true ever got held to account for that. And I must have received that message like 5 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you don't get to just make these like ridiculous, like actually stupid fucking claims about the world and then no one call you to account.
I'm going to hit on the cynicism point. The world belongs to optimists. Because if you're going to do anything big, you have to believe that it can happen. Otherwise, it never will.
That Sean Puri thing, the cynics get to be right and the optimists get to be rich.
Yeah. Like, if you look at it from a percentage of success rate, I've been wrong more times than I've been right. I have failed more times than I've succeeded. But you always succeed more and are right more in the big ways than the people who've been right all along and are wrong. Trevor says this, my editor. He says 99% right and 100% wrong. So like they're right 99% of the time. But they're wrong 100% because the only thing that matters is the big one at the end. Like your family and friends will say that every girl that you ever date is not good enough. Except for the one time you find the girl that you're actually going to marry. And then it doesn't matter. Or like this won't last. Or like this business idea, it's not going to work. And you might have 9 failures. I felt my first 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. 9. As in the first one, spent time, fucking failed. Second one, this one will be different, fucking failed. Third one, this is the one. And then 6 more after that, right? I'm just painting this picture because like it's painful as shit because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so, and they're right. Today. But not forever.
If the cost is peace of mind, don't buy it. Why?
I use the peace of mind as a indicator for breach in values. So that's I want to become known rather than, and sacrifice my reputation in order to do so. And so for me, I would lose peace of mind, like right on the edge. I'm like, I don't know, this is a little bit edgy. I had a guy who shared a bash clip of me. And
what's a bash clip?
Oh, like somebody like took my clip and then was like, this is wrong,
Oh,
blah,
okay,
blah, blah,
right,
whatever.
yeah.
And so I looked at the guy's profile and I saw he was a VC. And I was like, huh, okay.
I know who this is.
Oh. And so I DM'd him and I was like, do you disagree with this? And he said something and then I just eviscerated him. And he was like, you're right. I overstepped because I wanted to try and do a viral clip. You are fundamentally right. And I was wrong. And so like, that is what I would never want to be. Like that is disgusting to me. And so the cost of making a viral clip to try and trend jump when I know that fundamentally the thing isn't right is not worth the price.
This shows up in other ways. So I had it. What the fuck did I do? I think I tried to throw a used Splendor packet in a bin in a restaurant. You know,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
did that. But I was leaving and I was like, it's next to the bin. Someone will get it.
Okay.
And I walked
Oh, yeah.
30 yards away.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Turned around, went back, put it in the bin.
Yeah. You'd know.
That's the peace of mind.
Yeah.
And
you'd know.
This is another one of those interesting reframes. This is really, really interesting to me. If the cost is peace of mind, don't buy it. You can see, and I did for a long time, my inability to move in as ruthless of a way as other people do, as a weakness, as a vulnerability. And I realized in retrospect that it's just a higher standard that I'm holding myself to. And that can be, that will result in many times me doing things that, and having things that I need to overcome. I'm working on my people-pleasing tendencies as hard as I can at the moment.
To not?
Yeah. I end up, I don't like to disappoint people.
Sure.
I don't like to do things that causes other people to feel bad or feel hurt, or to tell them things that they don't want to hear. That's why that Dr. Robert Glover, the No More Mr. Nice Guy, was just so fucking like very, very, very incisive. But I realized even with that, I had a conversation with a friend, and it's to do with this book. And there's a bunch of ideas that everybody's been working on in my friend group for quite a while. And I was like, I really want to write about this thing, and sent him a long, overly arduous voice note explaining about how conflicted I was, because it's not my idea. Now, no one owns the truth. That's one of the brilliant things about working through quotes and things like this, is no one owns it, right? Like, if it's accurate, nobody gets to own the truth. It's just an insight about the way that reality exists. So I sent him this big long voice note, and he replied to me and said, and I'm over pattern matching a lot of the things I'm doing as people pleasing. Like, I think I sent you that tweet about, I just learned about the recency bias, and of all of them, I have to say it's my favorite one.
Right.
It's like, you see this new thing and it's the hot new toy that you're playing with or whatever, the like shiny new toy. And he responded and he said, I wanted to say how grateful I am that you, in amongst all of the stuff and the book and the show and all of the different people pulling on your attention, that the first place that you would go to when thinking about this idea is how I would feel, rather than how you can like wheedle it so that you get the outcome that you want or whatever. I would be very hesitant in you saying, or you calling that people pleasing, when it's one of the reasons that I love you as a friend. And I was like, that's interesting. That's a reframe that I hadn't anticipated. And that is, again, the peace of mind thing. Now, your level for peace of mind may be different to somebody else's, but I don't think that that's something that you should be ashamed of.
You know, as a fun challenge for anyone who's listening, try telling the truth in social settings. So when someone invites you to a party, instead of coming up with a fake excuse that you both know is a fake excuse, just say, I don't want to go. Really fuck with you. And if someone like says, hey, can you, help me move? You're like, I don't want to. It's very freeing, because the thing is that like their response is on them. And if I try and anchor myself to truth. If I just tell the truth and state the facts, I'm good with me. And if someone, and I ask, because I had an exchange recently where I said that, I say it often, and now people who are around me are accustomed to the fact that I will just state the facts and tell the truth. I said, would you have preferred that I've lied to you? And the guy just, I was like, so you would prefer that I lie? I will not be associated with someone who would prefer that I lie to them, because it makes my life difficult, because then I'd have to lie, which then would breach one of my values. So in the future, I had someone who recently was like, hey, if you need anything, let me know how I can help. I'd be like, you don't mean that, because if I actually need something, you will not help. And so it's really uncomfortable for a lot of people, because it breaks a lot of social norms. But I think that it's kind of like the 100 no's is like being comfortable. Like, it's just being comfortable with the truth. And the truth is one of the scariest, ugliest things, like, why don't you want to go on another date with me? I don't like you. You're not worthy. But like, people are so uncomfortable with that. And I think that I've just tried to shed bullshit as much as I could from my life. And it's just made thinking a lot easier, and also dealing with relationships a lot easier, because you also, by shedding social niceties, when you do also state the truth, when I say, I think you fucking killed that, people know it fucking carries weight because you don't just say that. And so I would say most of my team, for example, if I pay a compliment, they know that I mean it. And I don't have to say like, hey, like if I'm being honest, I really, like, I don't like, and it makes your words mean what you say. And I think that is like, I aspire to be a man who, when I say things, people know that I mean them. And I think a way to do that is to stop saying things that I don't mean. And so I'm trying to cut as much of the words that are niceties and things that I don't mean and are nonsensical and bullshit that I've been taught to say in this social situation. When someone says, that makes sense, I say, no, it doesn't make any sense. People are like, oh, because when someone says makes sense at the end of a sentence, we are trained to just nod and say, yeah, even though if you didn't even process it. But if I don't think it makes sense, I say, no, I don't think it makes sense, or no, I don't understand. And again, you don't want to look stupid, but looking stupid in the moment so that you can better understand something makes you not look stupid for the rest of your life when you actually understand it. And so that has been a huge effort of mine, is to make words great again.
Make words mean what they mean again.
Yeah. And I really aspire to do that with my writing, and especially in my social relationship, because time is so valuable and we have so little of it. And I don't want to waste any of it pretending to be someone or say things that I don't mean.
Alex, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on. What's next? What can people expect from you next few months?
Well, all my effort is in the Skool Games. So we're, I can talk about them. I can not talk about them. Yeah. So I just made the biggest investment in my life. I'm now co-owner of Skool.com. It's a platform where you can build what you want to build, learn what you want to learn. And, schools will give you the tools, the community, and the education to help you. And so we've actually created a whole thing where people can start all this stuff for free. Because I believe my whole platform has been education. That's what I believe in. I think the education system is broken, and teachers don't get paid or given the resources to actually teach students. And they're supposed to teach tests that they know don't help students. Students get educated on stuff that doesn't matter in the real world, and they go into mountains of debt for a piece of paper that doesn't make them anything to pay off the debt that they're in for the rest of their lives. And I hate all of it, which is why we started making the content that we do. And so this is one big investment that I'm doing to try and make my small dent towards helping fix that. And I obviously talk about business. That's what I know. Okay. But one person can't do that. Like, I can't change. I can try, but like, I don't think one person is going to change the world. And so, I wanted to invest in a platform that would help other people do that for one another. And so whether it's like, you know how to paint and you want to teach people to paint, you know how to fix Hondas and you want to teach people to do that. Like, there are so many more useful skills that we can trade with one another. And I think Ben Franklin said, there's no more noble a deed than to help another know more, to educate. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And so, that's what I'm investing my dollars and my time into. And so, that's like my whole next year.